Lots of people want to start careers in the museum world, but it's confusing to know where to start. There's so many questions like, what are the positions all about? What qualifications do I need? What is the compensation like? Where do I look for jobs? If these are things you've ever asked yourself, welcome to the Guardians of the Gallery channel. Make sure to hit subscribe. One tip that we give you in this channel could be the thing that helps you land your dream museum job. Today we're talking all about the museum position of Preparator. So stick around to the end of this video. I've got a special resource put out by one of the best museums in the world, one of the best institutions. Then studying this resource is going to really set you apart as you're looking for these Preparator positions and as you're interviewing for these positions. So stick around. I don't want you to miss that fantastic little tip I have for you at the end of this video. So now let's get into it. What is a Preparator? In layman's terms, the Preparator is the one who hangs the pictures on the wall. It's pretty straightforward. The Preparator does that at a museum caliber level. Sometimes you might see a position that historically would have been called a Preparator, but you might see it now listed in a little bit more modern phrasing. Something like exhibition manager or exhibition technician is a common way you'll see this position listed. This position, it can vary a little bit when you're talking about large institutions versus small institutions. For example, at a small museum, a preparator might also have additional job duties such as setting up for a public event or hosting, being part of the logistics team for an arts festival. Whereas if you're going to a larger museum, you may have preparators that are specifically, their job duties are only the physical moving of artwork, like crating and shipping artwork, or they may be involved just in building of cabinetry. So that's going to be some of the variations that you'll see in large institutions versus small institutions with the job description. So the overview of what the preparator does is the installation of an exhibition. So now let's go into some of the fine level details to show what it takes to install a museum exhibition. So the preparator will be involved with the building of temporary walls and an exhibition space to kind of create and craft a flow to the gallery. The preparator will be involved with the physical transportation of the artwork. Sometimes the preparator will be the one physically handling the shipping. The preparator will be involved with unpacking, uncrating the exhibition, and then documenting it because later on they're going to have to put it back in those same crates to send it back to the home museum. The preparator will be responsible for moving the artifacts, moving the artwork into the exhibition space. Sometimes if it's a three-dimensional artifact, the preparator will have to create a special mount so that that is safely displayed for the public. The preparator will be involved with framing as needed, whether the preparator is doing that his or herself or working with a contractor to do the framing. The preparator is going to be involved with making sure the items that need to be framed, that they are framed. This is the one that everybody thinks of. The actual hanging of the artwork or the display of the artwork needs to be done in a way that is safe for the artifacts, safe for the public, and then visually appealing as well. Preparators will set up the exhibition furniture as needed for an exhibition. This includes the cabinets that are used to display artifacts. It includes the plexiglass tops that go over the artifacts. Those are called vitrines. The preparator is the one to make sure that those are clean and the scratches are minimalized and that they look as best as possible. The preparator will be the one that sets up the lighting for the exhibition. If there's any sort of technical component or any sort of audio-visual component, the preparator will either be the one who's installing that or working with the technician that is installing that, whether it's anything like videos or sound recordings. The preparator will be involved with getting that nicely tied up into the exhibition. Preparators will be involved with the signage that goes into an exhibition. So this means that they may be working with graphic designers, or if they have a graphic design skill set, they may be doing the graphic design themselves to design banners for the exhibition. Sometimes certain exhibitions will call for vinyl letters that are applied to plexiglass to create didactic labels for artifacts, for artworks. Sometimes the labels for artifacts are printed and then mounted on like a type of foam core or cardstock. The preparator is usually doing this physical creation and installation of the design materials, the graphic materials for an exhibition. The preparators, just so you know, they're not typically the ones who are writing these. That's more of a curatorial function. The curators are the ones who are writing what the public will read on these, what images will be involved with them, but the preparator is the one that is physically setting these up. And then at the conclusion of an exhibition, everything that a preparator did to prepare that exhibition, the preparator is going to undo it or do it in reverse. So the artifacts are going to be packed back away, whether they're going into collection storage for the host museum, whether they're going to be crated up and sent back to the home museum that they were lended from. Preparators are going to be the one to remove the temporary walls that were created, to take out the exhibition furniture and put that back into storage. Preparators are going to be the ones who take out all the lighting that was done. So it's pretty cool job duties, right? You're hands-on, you're involved with the artifacts, you're creating a physical environment that people will enjoy, that people will learn in, and it's a lot of fun. You probably get an idea that the kind of people who are attracted to this kind of position and do well in this kind of position are people who are very DIY. And it is true. In the morning, you may be doing something like using a blowtorch to create a bronze mount to display a collection of ancient coins. And in the afternoon, you might be hanging maps that are from the time of Da Vinci. So that's kind of a real possibility in the day of what a preparator can be like. It's not uncommon to see people who have a fine artist background to be involved in this position. When I say that fine artist background, I mean that they've trained in art school to be an artist. Those skills that artists have are very applicable in this position. We're talking about things like stretching a canvas. We're talking about things like building a frame. These are things that work very well in this position. So frequently you see people who are emerging artists also working as a preparator as well. So as you're targeting towards this position, make sure that you have things that you can put on your resume that show that you're very familiar with hands-on work, that you're familiar with power tools, that you know how to operate them safely. So if you have experience in things like graphic design, framing, cutting of mats, if you have experience in things like building cabinetry, construction, those are things that skills that you should be listing on your resume for this position. The preparator position is one of the positions in museums that doesn't typically require a master's degree. Typically, it will require a background in fine arts and usually a bachelor's degree and something related to the fine arts, but not typically a master's degree. Master's degrees, those are usually required for the curatorial positions and the education positions in museums. I promised you a special resource that's going to set you apart as you're looking down this career path of preparator in a museum, and that is a special publication. It's a book that was created by the Metropolitan Museum, and it's titled The Care and Handling of Art Objects, Practices from the Metropolitan Museum. This book explains in practical terms how art objects and artifacts should be handled, how they should be stored, how they should be transported, and the best practices for handling something, because you would handle a stone sculpture differently than you would handle a painting from the Renaissance. So it gives you those foundations of how to safely and confidently handle art objects and artifacts. You can buy this book online. The Metropolitan has actually made a free downloadable copy available on their website, so I'm going to list the link to that below in the description, so make sure to have a look at that. This book was one of the things that helped me early in my career as a preparator, and I made it required reading for any of my interns or volunteers working in my department as a preparator. Make sure to check it out. It's an incredibly practical guide. We're doing a full series on museum careers, art world careers, so if there's one career in particular that you're curious about, leave that in the comments below and we'll do our best to help you out. Until next time, Guardians, we'll see you in the gallery.